Yeah, with the beautiful sound of Shatawale and Amrado and their lovely song Blessings. Welcome to the fourth series of I Have a Story to Tell on Zed FM 101.9. And tonight we're going to have a little bit of Kokofu football because on the other side of the desk is Francis Hugh Baffour. And Francis Hugh Baffour, to all intents and purposes, is my elder brother. And he's done a lot of wonderful things in his life. So while he was in Ghana on a visit, I decided that I want to interview him so that he can tell his story. So welcome to I Have a Story to Tell on Zed FM 101.9, Mr. Francis Hugh Baffour.
Thank you.
Well, you'll have to tell your story. I'm not going to tell your story for you. But welcome to the program. And I'd like you to tell us a little bit about where you were born and where you grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, let me first say that, most people know me as Pakopna Baffour.
Right.
I mean, here in Ghana, I think Pakopna Baffour is better known than Francis, in the U.S. and other places. Yeah, Francis. Okay. But I still like it. Still like the name. I'm a boy from Elmina. I'm from Elmina, but wasn't born in Elmina, actually. I was born in Sekendi. We lived there for a short while, but when I realized, that, yes, I'm a young boy growing up with my parents, we were in Kumasi then.
All right.
Yeah. My mother was teaching at St. Peter's, and my dad was a labor officer working for the Ministry of Labor, I believe then.
Yeah.
I was a very young boy. And then we moved from there to Takoradi. My dad was transferred. So my mother got a job teaching also at the Catholic school in Sekendi.
Right.
And that's where, started growing up, becoming aware of, myself. And then suddenly, my old man died in a car accident. I wasn't even 9 years, and my mother, there were 4 of us to start with.
Right.
She was only 39,
Okay.
with 2 more on the way, twins.
Yeah.
So when I sit down and sometimes think about it, I said, this woman was in hell. 39-year-old with 4 kids. The oldest is not 9 yet, and you have 2 on the way. How was she going to survive? Well, survive she did. I mean, she went through some terrible times, depression, couldn't work, couldn't teach. And that's when, we moved to Elmina. Right. To be with our grandmother, Mami Fritzwa.
All right.
That's where probably the name Fritz comes from
also. It does. But
yeah. So that's where I really became an Elmina boy, for some time. And then, Mami Fritzwa's children, your dad, R.P. Baffour, frankly, I mean, I would say it's because of him that I'm where I am today. He had to take care of us, And our aunt, Aunt Madeline, who just passed away at 102.
Yeah.
Her sister, Mrs. Graf Johnson, who passed away about 14 years ago, and Tajwa, another of their siblings. They helped, to bring us all up. But frankly, I think I'm where I am because of R.P. Baffour. If he hadn't stepped in, to support the family financially, my mother wasn't in any position to do anything for us. I mean, she was basically dead. And the sad thing is, the twins that she was carrying, when our father died, also died.
Oh.
So that was really bad. It was really bad, yeah. So that is the Elmina part of it. And of course, when we went to Elmina.
So what school did you go to when you were
in Elmina?
Yeah.
St. Joseph's, the Catholic school. St. Joseph's Catholic School.
That's the oldest Catholic school in Ghana, isn't it? It was founded by Moreau and Murat.
That's right. Very likely.
And your grandfather was the headmaster at the same time, wasn't he?
Yes. Yes. So, we were there until we moved to Takwa.
I see.
When Auntie Madeline moved to Takwa, I had to go to Takwa to work. And then, she took my brothers and I were there to Takwa. So, actually, my brothers, Tony and Dex, more of, I can call them Takwarians maybe, more than I am, because I spent a lot more time with my other aunt, Mrs. Graf Johnson, because Amwakun happened to be, my... Amwakun is a cousin of mine, Amwakun Graf Johnson.
Yeah.
He's the third child of the Graf Johnsons, Mrs. Graf Johnson. Her husband was GKB Graf Johnson, who at one time was the head, ran the Ghana Ports and Authority, also the head of the railways. So Enamwaku and I are close. We're like brothers, So I used to spend a lot of time.
Anyway, by Ghanaian standards.
I think you're right. Yeah, I stand corrected. You're right. He's a brother. I mean, we did everything together. We went everywhere, lived together, shared an apartment together when, he got out of college and was working,
But you've jumped the gun because you've got to tell us, when you were in Takwa and in Takoradi, were you in school?
Yeah.
Because from there you must have gone to a secondary school or something.
Yes, I was in school in Takwa.
Yeah.
And that's where I did my common entrance and went to St. Augustine's.
Okay.
I was very young. Would you believe I wasn't even 13, 12 years. Immature, of course, in St. Augustine's. And I enjoyed, being in St. Augustine's,
Tell us about St. Augustine's, because you just celebrated an anniversary.
Yeah, the 96th anniversary.
96th?
96th, yeah.
Did you go? Were you there?
Unfortunately, I couldn't.
Okay, but tell us
I'm looking forward to the 100th.
Okay.
Yeah, in 4 years. Then I will be there then.
Yeah, God willing.
God willing. St. Augustine's was very good to me.
All right, tell us about your experiences at St.
The
Augustine's.
initial years, Form 1, Form 2, and I had friends there. But I guess I really started enjoying the school much more when I was in Form 4, Form 5.
Why?
And then, I was doing a lot more. I mean, I was playing a little bit of hockey here, soccer there, and all that. But, we became better known when we had a band, the Famous Flames. And, we at that time, we were the band, the boy band, call it, in Ghana.
Yes.
Yes, the Famous Flames. And
can you name the band's band? Because I mean, I'm going to tell everybody that the Famous Flames was something else.
Yeah. The head of the group was Patrick Kojo.
Okay, and
the
he had
guy
a name
was
called Chick Ferret.
Chick Ferret, yeah. the guy was so brilliant as a musician. I mean, he was the keyboardist. You know, he used to play something we called
the soprano
melodica.
Melodica, yeah.
Melodica. But, you know, he was very good on the keyboard. I played the drums. And the other guy is Reggie Sawyer, whom I'm still in touch with. He was the bassist. Henry Mince Brown was the rhythm guitarist. Owusu Augustine, he was the lead guitarist of blessed memory. Owusu passed away. And of course, our vocalist, Ben Brackon. Ben, I was looking at some old pictures, and you should see the baby face of Ben.
Yeah.
And his face was like, you know, a baby's bottom. I mean, this is fresh Ben Brackon, and you know, he was good at it. You know what he was doing, but of course, I mean,
you also had Ben Bella.
Yes, we had Ben Bella, you know, Patrignani.
Yes.
Wasn't in St. Augustine's. He was in Cape Coast University, and frankly, I don't remember how he became a member of the group. All I know is Ben Brackon was singing a lot of the ballads, the Otis Reddings, and you know those things. And Bella started singing, you know, came in singing the James Browns and you know those you know hot stuff.
Yeah.
So I became a member of the group, and you know. From St. Augustine's, you know, we used to play, you know, during vacations. Went to Takoradi, Kumasi, and playing in Cape Coast general area. To one point, we even went to Togo. And in Accra, we played in all the nightclubs. I mean, there were times that in Accra, we played at 3 nightclubs. You know,
Names
and nights.
Nightclubs.
We played at Tiptoe,
Silver
was
Cup.
one. Silver Cup, probably, I don't remember. Tiptoe, Lido,
Yeah.
Apollo Theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you played at Metropole.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. That's right. We did. You know, very young. And I remember when we were, I mean, going out to start playing, I had finished from 5.
Yeah.
Gone home, and I knew, you know, my aunt wasn't going to allow me to go out there and, you know, be playing from nightclub to nightclub and nightclub. So what happened was, one evening, I saw the whole band. All of them came to the house to plead. You know, oh, let him come with us. We'll find a new drummer. You know, he'll be with us for just a couple of weeks and all that. So they begged, and my aunt said, okay, I'll let him go on one condition. You guys, Augustine Owusu, his father was my aunt's friend. And, you know, she said that, look, on one condition, he stays with you in your father's house, and he goes for 2 weeks. So that was the agreement, and we left on the sleeper, the train from Takoradi to Kumasi. It was fun. It was good. I mean, I enjoyed being out there. And since, you know, we had been playing in Cape Coast and the band was so popular and all that, I mean, wherever we played, I mean, there were so many students, so many people. And I remember once, there were so many people that they had to shut everything down, you know, because there was going to be riots and confusion. And someone had also told us some folks were going to destroy our instruments and all that. So Kumasi was good. I mean, we enjoyed it. And from there, we, came to Accra, played in Accra.
Yeah.
There were times,
Well, can I remind you something?
Please go ahead.
I don't think you want to remember this, but you played on TV.
Yes,
I think it was Time for Showbiz or something, which is a program on television. And I think your grandmother saw you on television and told R.P. Baffour about it. That's right.
No, it was even worse than that. I mean, I'd overstayed past the 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I knew I was in trouble.
Right.
So, and I used to call periodically. Everything is fine, okay. Nana Mankwetia, he was the Bantamahene. He was the guy that I was staying with, was taking good care of us and all that. So, after 2 weeks, I stopped calling. And they didn't know where I was. And my cousins wouldn't tell because they knew I was in trouble anyway. They didn't want to make the situation worse. So we had played on TV where I'd gotten out, to my uncle, your dad. And I decided one day to go to his office to say hello and all that. Oh, my goodness. And I went with Augustine.
And I was with you then.
Yeah, I remember. That's right. GNTC Motors.
Yes.
So we got there, and Augustine waited in the secretary's office. And as soon as I entered the old man's office, oh my goodness, the way he screamed. When I came out, Augustine was gone. He'd run away. And then, look, the harm had been done. I've overstayed. We've been playing here and there,
Right.
that. And I promised that, look, okay, we have engagements over the weekend. So after the weekend, I'll go home. And he said, okay. His big voice, okay, right. So, we finished our gig, and I left, the band and went back to Takoradi. That's where I was staying.
But don't you think it's really peculiar that, because you didn't tell the story of your father, he was a very good musician, played the piano.
Yes.
Could dance here,
Yes.
And RP himself was a bit of a musician. So I don't see why he was so concerned when you went into music.
At that time, being, a band boy wasn't really, good as such. They felt, the band boys were bad. They were chasing girls here and there. They were all over the place. So that whole reputation, soiled, our names as individuals. But for the band itself, we were okay. We were good. We didn't get into any trouble.
Let's hold that there because we'll continue.
Okay.
But what was your first selection? Because one of the things about I have a story to tell on 101.9 FM, Zed FM, is that you have to have 5 selections. So what's your first selection?
Do you know what? Since I'm talking about the Flames, and I'm talking about Ben Bracon, I would select a song, Etwe. That's one of Ben's creations. It's on the Bayer album.
Right.
And that album, it's a classic. It's an album that's going to be around for a very, very long time. So that's my first selection.
All right.
Zed 101.9 FM.
music of the evergreen Ben Bracco. And that was a selection of my guest. His name is Francis Hugh Baffour, but we all know him as Fakopna. He happens to be my big brother, which he's laughing. And he grew up in Elmina, Takwa, all over the place, and then he went to St. Augustine's Secondary School, celebrated the 96th anniversary a few weeks ago. And the Famous Flames was this very, very popular band when we were all growing up. So he's been telling us a little bit about it, the intricacies, the problems he got up to, and all that kind of thing. And so you enjoyed being a member of the Famous Flames, but you still studied because you got into sixth form.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that you were gallivanting around the whole of Ghana. Yeah, so what happened?
That is right. Got into sixth form, and of course we used to play still, because all the band members were there at the time. I was sixth form, and in fact, they were all a year behind me.
Right.
So we got together again and played. But let me just say that, Ben Bracco's album, what we listen to right now,
Right.
the album is almost 40 years old, and it's a
Yes.
classic. It's going to be around for a very long time. I like most of the songs on it. Yeah. So, well, yes, I went back, to sixth form, and from there, went to Tech.
Yeah, but you haven't told us a little bit about Augustine's.
Okay.
96-year-old school. What was it like being a student of St. Augustine's in terms of the teachers, in terms of your classmates and your schoolmates, and what makes St. Augustine's St. Augustine's? And then we could go to your Tech days.
Well, as you know, it's one of the prominent, well-known schools in Ghana, and in fact in Cape Coast. Cape Coast, we had so many schools, and Augustine's was one of the prominent ones. And many kids would like to go to St. Augustine's. Kids came from all over the country to St. Augustine's. Sixth form was special because at that time, sixth formers were in Kelly House. And Kelly House, we were two to a room. All the other dorms, it was a big dorm where they had beds, and my roommate was John Warman, still in touch with him. Very nice gentleman. So, I was there, and I was playing hockey then. A little bit of soccer. I mean, Augustine's was very good at soccer. We had very, very good players, some who played on the national team.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't consider myself a very good soccer player compared to those people.
Yeah.
Some of the guys, Michael Larson, Edward Boy, Atu Mesa, and Ragu Oben. He was the Y in 11 Ys. He even became the coach. And a whole bunch of other guys. We were good. And some of the boys were also playing for Ebusia Dwarfs.
Yeah.
It looked like we were the training grounds for some of the players in Ebusia Dwarfs.
Yeah.
So they played there. And
who was the headmaster then? I know you had a lot of white reverends and all that.
yes, when I went there, I believe the headmaster was Father Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah, after Father Kelly, then S.K. Opon came.
Yes, the famous S.K.
Famous S.K. Opon. He became, I think, Minister of Education during Buzia's time, I believe. Yeah. And obviously, he didn't last very long. And then there were others, Kumsin. I don't remember some of those, but
one thing we heard about Augustine's being a Catholic school, it was a bit of a liberal school because they allowed the sixth formers to do certain things that other secondary schools would not allow them. Is that true?
I don't know exactly what, because the Catholic priests and later on the brothers from America who came there, were strict. I mean, the only thing that I would say the sixth formers did was, at some point, you could wear, collared pants, whatever, basically whatever you want.
See,
yeah. Yes. Right. Probably that was the only thing. And the other school, other students weren't allowed to come to the Kelly House area because it's for the seniors,
Really?
Oh, yeah. So we were a little bit sort of put on a pedestal, St. Augustine's there and all that. So that probably, was it. And, in the dining rooms, we were heads of the tables and sort of supervised. Yeah. But
so you had more food than the others?
I don't believe we did. I wish we did, because at some point there were times when you felt you could eat a little bit more. But I don't think we did. It was good, though. I mean, to be recognized in that position, to be respected. Right. And, of course, they call you senior. Anyone who was ahead of you, you call senior. So I have a few friends who still call me senior. I say, come on, stop that. Okay.
Anyway, so you left St. Augustine's and you got into Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
That's right.
And what was it like? What did you go to study and what was it like?
I went there. I was in Republic Hall and I was studying agricultural science. I graduated and I remember when I graduated, I wanted to continue to do my master's, immediately. And one of the professors told me, no, you better go work, get experience, before you continue. But I was hell-bent on doing my master's then. But I couldn't get in.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I had to go do my national service then.
What did you do your national service? That's
probably that national service changed the trajectory of my life, my profession, and all that. There was this gentleman who was the head of the National Service Secretariat, Major Kujiku.
Yes.
And the guy got to know me because I was there just about every day, because I was trying to get into the research institutes, Animal Research Institute, the CSIR, and all that.
Yeah.
And the guy wouldn't listen. He would not listen to me, and I kept going, and he said no. So finally, they sent me to Bekwai to teach at the SDA secondary school. Okay, so I went to Bekwai, and I was teaching agric science and biology. And the school was probably the only school in Ashanti region that had been given the authorization to do agric science at the advanced level.
Really?
Yes. So the headmaster was so glad that I came, and in fact, he thought I wouldn't even go because it was required and all that. But I did go. And funny enough, that same year, Major Kujiku was the guest speaker for the speech day. And he came and saw me there. He laughed, said, "This is where you ended up." I said, "Yeah." And when I went there, being that, they were introducing the agri science subject for A-level, there were no books. They didn't have any books. So some of my national service colleagues said, why don't you do questions and answers and all that and, sell it to the kids?
Yeah.
So I did that. And then one of them said, do you know what? If you've done all this work, why don't you do a book instead? So I said, let me tell you, this is a wonderful idea. So I compiled it into a book. I did a book.
Yeah.
And, who was going to publish it? I knew that there was Longmans in England.
Yeah.
They could do it. I contacted them and they said they had gotten someone in Nigeria to do a book like that. And someone pointed me to Afram Publications.
Right.
So I went to Afram Publications and Sam Wood was running the place at that time.
Right.
He said, wow, we're looking for someone to do this book, agri science. Says, do you know what? Give us the manuscript and we'll let someone take a look at it and see how best we can do it. So I gave it to them. When the manuscript came back, Fritz, I could not recognize it. I could not recognize the manuscript. It had been torn to shreds. In other words, what I'd done was really not good. Then Sam Wood said, look, we want you to do it, okay? We'll get you funds. There was a fund called the Authorship Development Fund by the Ministry of Education.
Right.
We'll get you money from there. Get any book you want. Whomever, at that time you needed. I wrote, longhand, someone to type and all that. So I did all that. And I remember on a couple of weekends, he would take me to Tafo. The editor there will sit over the weekend, go through, the book and all that. So we did that until the book was completed. And I'm glad that, that happened. And frankly, if I didn't been Major Kujuku, that wouldn't have happened.
All right.
So with that, the book was used in West Africa, for West African schools and colleges. West African, secondary schools, and became very popular. I didn't get rich, off it, but I felt proud, that I did that.
So from fame in music to fame in academia authorship, but you know something, you jumped the gun again. You didn't tell us about your years in KNUST, because I know of so many friends of yours who tell tales about you in UST. So what did you get up to at KNUST?
That was one of the, I would say, the most enjoyable times of my life. Here, a young guy, you're now free in college, you have a little bit of money.
Tell us about the money. I hear you were giving allowances for...
Oh yeah, we were giving allowances.
What was it called?
They were supposed to be loans.
Okay.
But who cared? The money came and we spent it on anything. Maybe got a couple of books here and there, but, we're just enjoying it, And, to go back there also, we formed a group. We had a band in Tech. We called it was One to Azuri. And one of my close, friends back in St. Augustine's was our manager, Kujo Adams. Yeah. And we had Sam Bentel in it, Kujo Simpson, myself, and we used to get other folks like Andy Quest He was very, very good guitarist. He was in Legon, but he played with us sometimes. And Chick was there.
Yeah.
He was still the keyboardist. He was very good. That guy is so brilliant, and we played in several places here and there on campus. Sometimes we went to University of Ghana to play. So it was fun, and because of my height then, during that time,
When you talk about height, you're on radio. Are you a tall man?
Well, I'm a tall man comparatively. I'm
Yes,
about
yes.
almost 6'3".
Yes, that's right.
They said, "Look, Francis, you can be a basketball player." I said, "Yeah, I've never played basketball, but I started, playing for the hall, and I got good at it. I got very good at it. That I played, for the university, and I remember during the first All Africa University Games, FASU, I played, on the Ghanaian team. It was fun. Let me tell you, it was really fun at the time. So I enjoyed that period very, very much.
But I think, if I may even say, you made a lot of women friends, didn't you? I know.
Oh, really?
Yes, because
Are you asking or are you telling me?
I'm asking you. I'm telling you at the same time.
Yeah, of course I did, I had many friends, some of them I'm, still friendly with. I contact, contact them. We exchange mail and all that stuff.
Good.
Yeah. So I still have, good friends from there.
All right. So let's hold it.
Okay.
We're talking about tech. We're going to jump back to your post-university days. But what was the second selection?
Well, the second selection, I would say, one of my favorites is a classical.
All right.
Okay, Beethoven's Fifth. Okay.
Right. Why Beethoven's Fifth?
I don't know. I mean, it just makes me feel good when I hear the da 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 da.
Okay.
Da 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 da. It's so good. It's so good.
Zed 101.9 FM.
you're wondering if he's related to me. In real terms, he's my elder brother. He's 1 year older than 1 year and 3 days older than me. But I brought him here because he's got a wonderful story to tell. He's been telling us about his early days. He went to St. Augustine's. He became a very famous member of the Famous Flames, which was the band of the time, student band of the time. Then sixth form, and then he went to university where he did agricultural science. He jumped the gun and told us about his years as a national service person, where he got the opportunity to write a book which became a bestseller and became a standard for agricultural science students. And now, after your national service, after finishing university, graduating, and your national service, what did you do?
This story is this part of my life is so interesting that of course after national service, I was still looking for something solid to do. A couple of my friends and I had an idea that we should go into some serious farming. I mean, we're talking about thousands of acres. But then, I mean, we didn't have the experience, we didn't have the money, but we just had this idea. And of course, we knew it, really, it wasn't going to work, but we thought about it because we had gone to Kintampo at one point and we'd seen this farm, Fritz. It was such a huge farm, cornfield. They had to, use planes to fly and spray and
Crop
all
dusting.
that crop dusting. Yeah. And we fell in love with it. But then, it really didn't work. So I went to the Ministry of Agric, and to the Animal Husbandry Department, and they sent me to Winneba. They had a farm there, and I think during that time, I took a course, with the USAID, and I impressed, the folks, the USAID folks. So they told me, listen, we're going to start a project in Ghana, the Economic and Rural Development Management Project for the entire country. So why don't you apply for a position? So I applied, and they hired me. And I partnered with a very, guy who became a very good friend of mine, an American, Moses Thompson. And we covered Western region and Central region. And we were working with the local governments. And what we're trying to do was to try and bring all the various ministries, departments together so they would develop a composite budget, for the entire district. And then that would flow up to the regional office. So rather than have the various departments doing budgets and planning in silos, they would rather do a composite budget covering the whole
Sector.
That's right, the region. So I did that, and it involved a lot of traveling. I mean, it was good because we'd been given brand new vehicles, these big Chevy Suburban vehicles, that you could travel in comfort in. So it was so easy, when we had drivers, and we were paid very well. I remember when I got my letter of appointment and I showed it to my boss. He said, "What? you're making more money than me. You're making more money than a principal secretary. But, the Americans said, no, that's what we want to pay them because we want to keep and want them to do a good job. So I was there for a while, and then I was sent to the U.S. to go do a postgraduate course. When I got there, things changed. It's like, my whole career started, afresh. I then got into finance, and I loved it. So the whole agri science and all that stuff went by the wayside. I remember I was contacted by Afram Publications to update my book.
Yeah.
And I said, look, gentlemen, I can't do it. I mean, I've been out of the industry for a long time. I can't do it. So they said, okay, we're going to find someone else to do it. So they found someone else to update it. And then my career path shifted into finance.
Yeah.
So I finished my master's in business administration through the ADL Management Education Institute in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which later became Holt School of Management.
Right.
And completed, the program. Frankly, I must say that I did very well there. And I was hired initially by Prudential Insurance,
Right.
as an analyst, and also to deal with some high net worth folks. Fritz, let me tell you, the job wasn't difficult, but I hated it. I mean, this is a job that on Sundays, to feel that, yes, Monday is coming for me to go to work, I felt awful. I mean, I got nightmares. I hated it. So then I started looking for a job. And back then, the Wall Street Journal on Tuesdays published all kinds of jobs. And I saw this job, financial guarantee, in New York. I didn't know anything about financial guarantees. But because I had an insurance background, they invited me for an interview. And I don't know, I impressed them somehow that they ended up doing the talking and I was doing the listening. They were trying to sell the job to me, which they did, and they hired me. So do you know what I used to do? Trying to learn about, the industry itself, the financial guarantee and the insurance, doing municipal bond insurance of commercial properties, commercial buildings and all that. I used to have a friend call and I'll be on the other phone. And they will be telling him what the job is about and and I'll be listening. So when I went for the interview, I was so prepared that I knew everything, inside out about the about the industry and about the job. That's really also changed the trajectory of my life because that's what led me into banking. Because we were insuring the letters of credit issued by various banks for to back the bonds issued for these commercial properties and all that. So that's how I transitioned into banking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here you were, you go to the United States to do your master's. You'd done that. You started working, and you started working insurance, and you didn't like it, though it paid well, and you knew how to do it, and now you're into banking, which is what you became. You became a banker, very seasoned banker. I'm talking to Francis Hugh Baffour. The reason why I'm always saying Francis Hugh Baffour is that because of his father, who passed away in the late 50s, he was called Francis Ignatius Hewell. The Francis, naturally, we are the Catholic family. The Ignatius is St. Ignatius Loyola. And then we had, the Humor was Bishop Hubel, who was the first bishop of the Gold Coast area. So he was named after that. And he'll tell us the story of who his grandfather, paternal grandfather was. This is my story to tell. And we have so many Francis in our family, it's frightening. So when you come across a Francis Baffour, you've got to ask which one. So that is it. So Francis he trained as an agricultural scientist. He wrote a book, and he wrote books afterwards. He was a musician, very much a very multi-talented human being, and that's why he's here today telling us his story. So he's now reached America. He's done a couple of jobs now. He's into banking. Tell us about banking then.
Yeah, because of what, I was doing with the financial guarantee services and ensuring the letters of credit of banks and all that, I had to learn about banks. I studied about banks, and then the company that we were working with failed. It failed because there was an insurance company that was sort of wrapping its credit rating on the whole transaction to give it a AAA rating, so the interest rate would be down. Now the insurance company was downgraded from AAA to something else, so it meant all the deals that were done had now become, AAB or something. So the company basically folded. But I'd developed, passion for dealing with, banks, So when that happened, I took time off because I had a book that I'd been meaning to write.
Right.
So I took maybe about 3 months off. I'd made enough money. I mean, I could, do that. So I went to Tennessee to one of our relatives at Tudigraf Johnson. Yeah. He was working for Phillips then, I believe. He was the only one there in this small town, Greenville. And I said, look, this is where I can come and hide and write the book. And Fritz, I got there and started writing. And I wrote for maybe about 15 hours a day. And everything was longhand. Longhand, And I write all that, and I'll fly someone in from New York to come and type over the weekend, Yeah. And within about 6 weeks, I had the book done. Yeah. And the book was big. So after that, I came back to New York and started shopping the book. This person said, "Oh, okay, we know this agent. We know this person. We know," and everybody said, "This is your first novel?" I said, "Yeah." "Well, it is too big. Nobody's going to publish it." And it went on and on and on and on. So finally, I even contacted a family friend, Maya Angelou. She gave me her publisher. The same thing, couldn't get anywhere. So I went back to Afram Publications. They had published my book, before, and they took the time and gave it to an editor who worked at it, looked at it, read the story, And he said, this is a very good story. This book can make you somebody, okay? So, he convinced their firm folks. So they said, sure, okay, we're going to work with you. We're going to do it. So ultimately, they published the book. And this was a while ago. The book, did fairly well. I didn't make much money out of it. I figured if I had a very good agent and someone who could go out there and sell, the book, sell it to screenwriters, other agents, they could have made a movie out of it. Okay, the book was The Crash of Apartheid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's it's fiction.
Yeah.
Okay, it's still out there, but I don't think it's in print. But if you want it, I'm sure you'll have to pay a little bit more for it because they have to reprint it and all that.
Right.
So after that, then I went to work for an investment banking boutique in Washington, D.C.
Right.
And this was, we were doing municipal bonds, and I did that, for maybe about 2-3 years. And that was when the banking crisis, the first S&L crisis in the U.S. hit. We're talking about 87, 88, 89.
Yeah.
So because of my background working with banks at the Financial Guarantee Services, I was hired, to work on, many of these failing banks, to supervise and all that. And that was very good. I learned so much, from that, and did that for a few years. And then during the period, the major financial crisis of 2008 hit. When banks were failing, investment banks were failing, some of the big investment banks like Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, Morgan Stanley, these were all failing. I mean, some of them were acquired by other banks, and the largest bank failure then occurred, Washington Mutual. In fact, we were supervising Washington Mutual. Yeah. That also failed. So it gave me so much experience. And it wasn't just the banks. There were insurance companies. AIG at the time was the largest insurance company in the world. That was failing, but it was bailed out. And many banks were bailed out by the government. And I learned so much from that. So as a matter of fact, when many banks were being closed in Ghana here at some point, and I heard that the government had earmarked, I think, 12 billion cedis to do that, and they were doing it in a different way from what was done in the U.S.
Yeah.
I said to myself, I think they could do better, because in the U.S., what they did was, the folks were so smart, at the Treasury then. They did the TARP, Troubled Assets Recovery Program.
Yeah.
That's right, TARP. And what they did was, the smaller banks, or some of the banks that were, failing, I mean, their assets were so bad, they let them fail. And the others, many of them, they gave them money. They gave them loans. Okay, take this money. You're going to be monitored seriously, closely, and then you pay the money back.
Yeah.
And they did that. I think they started with 12 billion or so. The government got the money back and made profits, because they invested, in the banks. as preferred shareholders. And the government did well. So when I heard that was also happening here, I thought a similar thing might be done, but evidently, obviously, it wasn't. And from what I hear, the cost even ballooned to 20-something billion. And so that's how I got into, serious banking. I mean, and the supervision of the banks was also what was, was good, because you met with some of the higher ups, I mean, the CEOs, to, discuss their issues, and they had to come to us, for non-objection to do some investments, do all kinds of things. So my experience really, came from there. And I worked with some very smart people, very, very smart people that I learned a lot from. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're telling us about your professional life.
Yeah.
But you moved to America. Completely different world from Ghana. What was it like when you first went to the States in terms of social life, your expectations, and your ambitions and objectives?
It was, that was the first time I was traveling out of the country. And I got to the U.S. I because of the work that I was doing with the Americans here and all that, I got to know a little bit about the U.S. America. So I got into Boston first. And I was lucky enough to have some friends there. So, they picked me up from the airport, Kwekwa and Sabina. So my first weekend, I stayed with them before I moved into Cambridge. Initially lived at YMCA before, I found an apartment with my roommate, Mahama. That was his name. School was, frankly, very smooth for me. It's very smooth. I did extremely well. Even though I was doing some things I had never done before, the various,
Do you think that the way you were educated in Ghana, the kind of educational exposure, helped you when you went to the States?
Absolutely, it did. Absolutely, it did. But then, one other thing that also helps in most business schools in the U.S., they force you, they create study groups. Okay, so the group would, basically study together, do projects together. So you tend to learn a little bit more from people who may be smarter than you or who know things, and I enjoy that. And I realized also at that time that my writing and my ability to analyze, things was, I would say, very good, exceptional. So that helped me a lot. I went through that, but after graduating, that's when you have to go out there and look for a job. And Fritz, it's not easy. First of all, you didn't go to school, high school, college there. And they would hire folks from there first before you.
Yeah.
Okay. And we were in a town where you had some of the best schools, Harvard, MIT, some of those big schools. And it never occurred to me that maybe your race also has something to do with it. Yeah. Okay? I would apply for jobs that I think I would qualify, that I qualify for. But I mean, I couldn't get anything. And I remember at the time, the sister of one of my, my girlfriend then, asked me, Francis, does it ever occur to you that you're black? It shocked me. I mean, I don't know, because here, we didn't grow up in that environment. Yeah. We didn't know. I mean, racism could be staring at you, right in the face, and you wouldn't even know it. You don't think about it, so you don't see what, say, a black American or someone who's lived in the U.S. for a long time would see. I mean, you wouldn't appreciate it, you wouldn't think about it, but a little bit of that was happening.
Right.
Yeah. So it was a little bit difficult, during the time. Yeah. It was, of course, during that time that I, got the Prudential job, and I hated it. But that was history.
All right. You see, that was history. Let's go to your third selection. What is it?
I love the harmonious choral.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I'll be going to see to their concert on Friday.
Right.
And they have the song Oye, which I enjoy very much.
Okay.
So
let's hear Oye, which is a song that I like. But because of my political leanings, sometimes we look askance, but it's a beautiful song.
Oh, is that right?
Zed 101.9 FM.
this choral, which is one of the selections of my guest tonight, Francis Hugh Baffour, also known as Parkobna, who started off as an agricultural scientist and then transformed into a banker. And he's been from his hometown in Elmina, he's traveled, he's lived in Takwa, Kumasi, Takrady, Sekondi. He lived in Accra, and then he went to the States, studied in Massachusetts, and I think you ended up in New York.
That's right.
Now tell us how you ended up in New York.
I think I said earlier on that, I saw this job in the Wall Street Journal. I applied for it.
Oh, that was in New
And
York.
that's it. And the job was in New York. At that time, I was in Boston when I applied for the job. So I had to move to New York. And in fact, at the time, I shared an apartment with our brother, Eddie B.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I also met my wife,
Yes.
Joan. She's from Sierra Leone. And we have a child. We got married. We have a child, Fritzwa,
Yeah.
just like your
had-
name.
It had
Yeah.
to happen. It had to happen.
It had to happen, and it had to be a Fritzwa also. I don't know how many Fritzwas we have in the family.
Quite a lot.
I don't know. Maybe I can count about 7 or 8.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have one too.
I know. I know. My brother has one too.
Yeah.
My cousin Mike, whom I love very dearly,
Yes.
he's passed away, has
Yeah.
one. I have a sister Fritzwa. There are too many. A niece Fritzwa, but one in America, one in Canada. There's so many of them.
All right.
Yeah. So
Tell us about New York. And
New York is a city that I still tolerate. I tell folks that I tolerate New York City. I work there, and it is loud. It is hectic. There's so much energy in the city that if you really want to enjoy the city, there's so much to do. You get to a point in life where many of the things, that you used to do don't interest you anymore. Okay. New York, when I got there, I enjoyed the city. But I found it a bit too much, considering that I was coming from a smaller city, Boston, then.
yeah.
And work-wise, it was great, because I was learning new things, and I enjoyed it. I met, friends. I made friends there, some of whom I'm in close touch with, very, very friendly. I didn't go crazy, in New York like many people would do. Especially, tourists. I wasn't a tourist. I was there, living there. And sometimes people ask me, isn't it too dangerous to live in New York City? Not really. You'll be surprised. If you're there, of course, you know where to go, you know what to do, you know what not to get into and all that.
Right.
I find it, a safe place. I enjoyed New York, but you could also be unlucky and get yourself, into trouble or be in an area where you shouldn't be, and trouble will find you. So New York it's a wonderful city, very vibrant.
Right.
Yep.
Now we've talked a lot about your background and everything, and some of the things you like. You've not talked about your musical journey or odyssey, Because did you throw away the music when you went to the States? I think that you're still musical. You're still involved in music. So what kind of music is it?
I'm still musical. I mean, I don't play any instrument now, but I enjoy singing. I sing. I sing in a choir, and it's not a very. It's a big church, but the choir is not a very huge choir. There are times where I may be the only bass, in the choir, or maybe two of us. And folks believe I have a big voice, probably not as big as yours. but I enjoy singing. And this is the season of the liturgical year, the Catholics, that I enjoy the most because of the songs. If you take the Holy Week, the Holy Thursday, the Good Friday, Holy Saturday, and Easter, I love that period. And of course, with Palm Sunday also coming, I love one specific song, of Palm Sunday that I used to sort of lead the choir in singing it. I mean, it's a choir. We didn't have soloists and that kind of thing, but because of my big voice, see that I'm leading the male section, to sing that, and I enjoy it. I miss it.
Now let's talk about another aspect of your life, which is the Catholic. You are a Roman Catholic, and I think you come from a relatively old Catholic family. And I was going to ask you, your grandfather was the headmaster. He ended up, I think, in Nigeria or something. He was a Catholic.
Yeah.
I think he was one of the first pupils of Moreau and Rat. You've taken your Catholicism very seriously. And, what has kept you in that mold?
That's a very good question. And I don't think I have a very good answer to that, except that, it's the way you were brought up. You brought up in this Catholic environment where, everybody in the family is holding on to Catholicism, and you have to go to church and you have to do this. And of course, even at the age of 10, 11, I was singing in the choir, with my aunt, who just passed away, and my cousin Mike. We were young.
You told me that Bob Wilson sang in the choir?
Yes.
Oh, well.
Mike Wilson sang in the choir with me.
That's another story.
Yeah. I was serving Mass, even in St. Augustine's, I was a Mass server, and, we took care of the church, and I still sing, in the church in New York. So when it comes to, the church, the Catholic Church, I think it's in me. Okay. And my aunt who just died, Aunt Madeline, she's everything Catholic. She's, I don't know. If you talk about Catholicism, I'll equate her with Catholicism.
Right.
Yeah. So it's something, that we grew up with.
So you carried it all throughout your life?
All throughout my life.
Right up to New York City.
Let me tell you a very funny story. When I was in Boston and I was struggling, with job, I was looking for a job. And I had a friend. And on Sundays and other days, we'll sneak. There's a Catholic church in the Prudential building.
Right.
So we'll go there, and I'll go and light a candle. We'll sit there and pray. Praying for a job. I don't know. I don't think it. I don't know. Maybe it worked, but I doubt it. Knowing what I know today, I don't think so. But it became a practice that we had to go into the church and do that. So,
right. Thank you. We've talked about religion. Now let's talk about the arts. One thing I was very surprised about when I met you was that you were very involved with the film festival in New York, and that's how I even got to meet Roberto De Niro, if I'm right.
Yes.
Yes. Now tell me about how you got involved, because you were part of the organization of that.
Yeah. Yeah. The African Film Festival has been going on in New York for about probably 33 years now.
Yeah.
And a very close friend of my wife's, Mahan Bonetti,
Yeah.
she is the executive director. That's her baby. She started it, and she still runs it.
Right.
And because of that, my wife is also, involved with it. And for all those years, she's on opening night, she does the catering and the organization and all that. And she still has to go and do it, for this year. So I served on the board of the film festival. Now I'm off the board. I'm just an advisor.
Yeah, but what did it entail being a member of the board of a film festival? Because I want the people out there to hear. This is Park of Baffour, Francis Hugh Baffour, an agriculturist, an author, a musician, a banker. He's lived in Ghana, he now lives in the States, he's here, and he's telling us about the arts.
Yeah. When Mahan started this, there was nothing like that. Frankly, I must say that I don't think there's any strong black cultural, I would say, film or, festival or anything like that in America. Because the AFF, the African Film Festival, is also affiliated with the premier entity, the Lincoln Center.
Okay.
The Lincoln Center is, a major cultural institution in New York City. They have their own film festivals, all kinds of music festivals. And they have their operas and all that. So the African Film Festival, teaming up with the New York, with the Lincoln Center, raised its profile significantly. And because of Mahan's work, we have a traveling series where the movies made by some of these big African filmmakers, come into New York, and they go around, in the U.S., even overseas, from the U.S. to be shown. And it exposes some of these filmmakers who are trying to make it bigger or want to find other avenues, for their films.
Yeah.
And, I enjoy doing it. And seeing, movies made in Africa or by Africans in Europe or somewhere else, and I enjoy that. I enjoy that very, very much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now we're going to do a little diversion.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that there was a song that you loved that is usually played at Easter.
Oh yeah,
so
the Palm Sunday, the
song.
Palms. Yep.
Palms.
Yeah, but
So-
Palm Sunday is just around the corner.
Right.
And I have to listen to it, and I sing it, in the choir
Okay.
with my big voice, and so I love it.
All right.
I love it.
So
Yep.
let's hear your fourth selection.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Zed FM 101.9. The program you're listening to is I Have a Story to Tell. And my name is Fritz Baffour, and my guest is Francis Baffour, Parkobner Baffour. He happens to be my big brother. And he's telling us our story. I had to get him on this program because his story's been a wonderful story. Born in Sekondi, Takoradi, lived in Elmina, in Takwa, Kumasi, went to the famous St. Augustine's Secondary School, or St. Augustine's College, I'm sorry, in Cape Coast, went to KNUST, worked in Bekwai in Ashanti, beautiful town, and then wrote a book on agricultural science, then worked with the USAID, got a chance and an opportunity to go to the United States where he did his master's. He worked for a company that he didn't fancy too much, and then went into banking, and he's a retired banker, very much into music from his salad days. So here he is, and he's told us about New York and the fact that he still clung to his music because he sings in a choir, a Catholic choir. He told us about his religious fervor and everything. Now, I want to ask you, you've been out of Ghana for a long time, and I know that you've been coming back regularly. How do you find Ghana?
I love Ghana. I know that there was a time when things were very difficult. Things were very, very difficult for, I would say, most Ghanaians. And things are still not that great for most people. But I think the country has progressed. The country has moved forward, and it's really also doing well. There are, some, of course, I mean, you can look at statistics, you can look at numbers, you can look at, government issues, the exchange rates, stuff like that. You can see that, the country is moving gradually, in the right direction. I mean, you can see it, you can feel it, and the evidence is there. Obviously, there was a time that I thought, the country was really not doing well at all. And I think a lot also has to do with leadership. And it goes, from the top down. It seeps all the way, to the roots.
Yes.
Because many people take their cues from the leadership. And I think I see Ghana on the upswing. And I hope that, many people would lend a hand, give back to help move the country further up or further, forward.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, the country is on the right track.
Right. Now, talking about the right track, I mean, a few years ago, we realized that at least you could actually think of what was going to happen next. Right now, you're talking about the country being on the right track, but there are threats, because right now we've got the war in the Middle East, and I think it's going to impact on us and all that. And so what do you think about that? And how do we, from your point of view as somebody who's been in agriculture and been in banking, how do we mitigate the threat of the uncertainty of the Middle East war?
The fact is, I mean, we live in a global economy.
Right.
When the U.S. Sneezes or gets a cold, we'll sneeze over here. I mean, there are some things that are out of our control, and it boils down to management. How are you going to manage the situation for the benefit of the country or for the benefit of the people? This country is blessed with a bunch of smart people, very, very smart people, that if they do the work that they're supposed to do and do it well, the country will do very well. The chaos in the Middle East is unfortunate. I mean, we have nothing to do with it. We can't do anything about it. And the thing is, we don't have the power to do anything. And you don't want to get yourself involved, intertwined with all these things. So you stay in your corner, manage your situation with the resources that you have, with the brains that you have, and hope for the best.
All right.
Because things can get out of hand, and we'll all go to hell in a handbasket. It's something that
Yeah. This is Zed FM 101.9. The program is I Have a Story to Tell, and my guest is Fritz Baffour, as he likes to be called, or Francis Hugh Baffour, as he was christened. And he is an agriculturist. He's a banker. He ended up as a banker, a musician. He's written a storybook and written a textbook, and I think he's writing again. And that's why I want to come to. You're writing again, aren't you? You're writing a book.
Actually, I've written 2 novels that have been published.
Oh, I see.
So this is the 3rd one that I'm writing.
Okay.
The second one, the first one was The Crash of Apartheid.
Yeah.
The second one was The God's Daughter. Yeah. And what I'm working on now is A Father's Confessions.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about it? What was the content?
The Father's Confessions?
Yes.
It's how do I put it? It's part of experiences that friends have gone through, and it's about some national service folks, how they lived during their national service, and one of them going to the U.S. And prior to that, the father having a child. Of course, with the principal character's mother, who died during childbirth, and it's I don't know how to put all the story together. It's so many pieces that come together at one point.
Yeah. When do you expect to finish the book?
You're asking very difficult questions. I swear. That book, I've been working on it for a while.
Okay.
And frankly, I've been lazy. I have not focused. Because if I really focus, I can finish the book in about 3 weeks.
I see.
But I can't say that it will be the next 3 weeks or the 3 weeks from whenever. But it's going to get done because I've done about 80% of the book. Yeah.
All right.
So hopefully it will be done.
I've got 2 questions. I'm going to throw it to you. One is that as somebody who studied agricultural science, what kind of advice do you offer to people in Ghana? Because this country is, I think, about almost 85% of the land is arable land. Where I know we've got an existential threat with Galamsey, but what is the way forward, from your point of view, for agricultural development and progress in this country? Because we have problems with tomatoes and the rest.
You're right. I mean, it's this goes. I would take this all the way back to Kwame Nkrumah's time. The guy was a visionary, and he wanted to make this country self-sufficient in many things, including agricultural products. Of course, people did not really understand or agree with the way he was doing it. Okay, but if he had had the chance, when we were kids, we heard about the Afram Plains. It was going to be developed, after the Akosombo Dam and all the water and the plains, and we're going to build all these huge farms. There are silos still there from Nkrumah's time that we're going to store food. If all those things had been done, I think, we'll be a net exporter of everything, lots of food. It's still not too late. We can still do it. And I think when I listen to some of the leaders, the politicians, folks have ideas as to what, we could do to improve our food production, food sufficiency, and stuff like that. There was a time when I heard that the country was going to stop importing rice.
Right.
We should stop it, because I think we could produce enough rice here to feed us, and we could even export some. It's going to take a while, but there are so many rice farms there that they could be given incentives, to grow more rice and process rice and store rice. That's one thing that I believe many of the developed countries can do. If you take US, for instance, there are programs that help farmers, businessmen to do that. If you take an organization like the Small Business Administration, SBA, they give loans, soft loans, to help companies, have working capital to do stuff that would, enhance their businesses, enhance productivity. We don't have that, here, that much here. One, of course, we can't compare ourselves to, the US, the amount of money they have. But we can develop programs and incentivize banks, to help these organizations, these small businesses, to invest, to grow. That we can do. There's one program in the US that I hope that, at least someone would consider bringing it here. It is the Community Reinvestment Act, which says, it's a law, which says the banks, all banking institutions should invest in their communities. And it's either, helping to develop entities that would help low to moderate income people, to help low to moderate income geographies, to develop. And banks would be examined, for what you've done over the past few years. What have you done to develop a community, an area, businesses, small businesses, stuff like that? And there's going to be, some price to pay, if you haven't done it, to help businesses or to help communities or to help organizations, develop, I think if we did that, banks make profit. They can use a small amount of their monies to do that in the communities where they are taking deposits from. Communities where they have branches, help those communities. I think it's a law that can be adopted here, right, to encourage or force banks, to do those activities.
Right. The next question is not far removed from that. There are a lot of people in Ghana who want to go to the States, who want to leave Ghana to go to the States. And so it's a question I ask when I meet people who live abroad. Would you advise it, or is it worth it? Because sometimes they say, well, you've been and you've made it. So why are you telling us not to do that, or why are you being negative about it? Is it worth it?
This is a very difficult question because I think it is. It all depends on the stage of your life. You know, if you're young, and smart enough, and do not have any hope in progressing where you are, and you think you can find better opportunities elsewhere, sure, do it. But then, one thing you should realize is there are no guarantees. You can go there and be so disappointed that you may want to run back. Okay, but I would say that, I'm not discouraging anybody from going.
Right.
You could go, but you should be mindful of the fact that you may go and not find what you're looking for.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, yes, we went there. We were lucky. I think I was lucky in some way, but it wasn't easy. There was a time that, you had to do menial jobs, to survive. But if you're lucky and you're able to find the right environment, the right nature, or someone who's going to hold your hand and help you to advance, that's great. But I wouldn't sort of encourage anybody to just get up and say, I'm going to the US, or I'm going to England, I'm going here to try and better myself. If you don't plan well, you don't have the means to live over there, you're going to run back.
Okay. Thank you very much. We've almost come to the end of the program. I've been talking to Parkomna Baffour, as he wants to be called, Francis Hugh Baffour. He happens to be my big brother. I brought him on because he has a lot of wonderful stories to tell, and he's been telling his story very beautifully here. You had the last selection. So before we sign off, let's play the last selection on Zed FM 101.9. This is Fritz Baffour's program, I Have a Story to Tell. Thriller by Michael Jackson, the final selection by Parker Baffour, Francis Hugh Baffour, who's been my guest on I Have a Story to Tell. He's told us a wonderful story, and I hope you all enthralled. Next week, we'll be meeting with a historian, God willing. But I'd like to thank you very much, Parkobna or Francis Hugh, for coming on my program, agreeing to come on my program to be interviewed and interrogated by your younger brother. So what do you have to say to the people out there?
Well, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy being here. And hopefully we'll do this again sometime.
I hope so.
And I hope you enjoyed it.
Okay. This is Fritz
Thank
Baffour
you.
saying goodbye. Let's meet again. Same time, same program, same station. 101.9 FM, Zed FM. And the program has been I've Got a Story to Tell. Hey, take care out there and stay blessed.